Now, as a customer, and again, the argument is always like, well, I spent $5,000 with them. And I'm telling you, none of these companies care about how much you spent. And it's not about that, but they're not triaging their inquiries based on how much you spend. But if they were, you got to understand that your $5,000 is a drop in the bucket to what their other clients are spending, right? Everybody that buys that machine you bought spent $5,000 on it. Everybody did. And your $5,000 means a lot to you. It doesn't mean as much to other people, and especially not your customer service guy, whatever. Now, I do think regardless if you're a home gymmer or a commercial gymmer or a college facility or whatever, as a customer, you deserve an appropriate response when, within an appropriate amount of time when you do have an inquiry. Understanding that estimates are just that. They're just estimated timeframes. They're not guarantees or whatever. And sometimes things take longer and sometimes they get done faster. They just average out what they believe it might be and they throw a date at you. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant and the hostess tells you it's going to be 30 minutes. Well, how do they know how long it's going to be before the next table opens up? I don't know. They just guess, right? Sometimes. And it's an educated guess, but whatever. I digress. Another kind of example of some home gym high maintenance is this. Another very specific example, something that came up. Somebody had posted in the Facebook group, and man, if you guys are listening here, I'll tell you to your face that was a little high maintenance, right? That was a little bit extra, okay? But somebody had reached out to Bridgebuilt, right? Bridgebuilt. Call them bridge built, call them bridge burnt, whatever you want to call them. It doesn't really matter. But they had reached out to them they said that they wanted a custom dumbbell rack. Well, Bridgebuilt says, I don't make those. And he says, well, I really want you to make me one. And basically they kind of go back and forth. And the guy's expressing a little bit of frustration. And he does it in a way of like, tell me I'm crazy. Is this the normal, the standard or whatever? He had asked about a different type of metal and Bridgebuilt's like, nope, not using that kind of metal. This is what I can build. And ultimately he says, if you want me to build this, I'm going to have to do a CAD and all that stuff. It's going to be $1,000. I don't know any more information about what happens with $1,000. Does it go toward the price of it? Does it whatever? But you got to understand, you're asking this guy, this small business guy who doesn't just sit around and build AutoCADs of products that he does not make, right? You're asking him to use tools and you're asking him to use knowledge and skills and understanding that he has to be able to build something that he does, to take time away from things that he does build to do something that he doesn't, just to give you an idea of what it might cost for something that you may or may not buy. All that stuff takes time and all that stuff takes money, and they value their time and their money and things like that. So yeah, when somebody comes back at you with a price that you don't like on their services, just don't do it. You don't have to do it. Right. But I don't know. It just seems like an odd thing to come onto a community Facebook page and kind of open up the doors for people to drag this company even further for something that maybe they don't have a full understanding of. Right. Enough of that. I really do. I feel so ranty today. All right. So let's do a quick product spotlight. Right. Maybe let's move on to something else here.